So this is something I read actually at the very first meeting. It's a quote from Dostoevsky. Above all, don't lie to yourself. The man who lies to himself and listens to his own lies comes to a point where he can't distinguish the truth within him or around him, so loses all respect for himself and others. And having no respect, he ceases to love. I've never read Dostoevsky and I don't know anything about him, but I know that this quote holds a lot of truth. It points very clearly to what I call personality awareness. What do I mean by that? Put simply, from all its patterns, beliefs, emotions, the personality creates a dream. The personality wants to keep you believing in the dream, and so it tries to make you look away from anything which threatens your identification with it. This is what I call personality awareness. The result of this is confusion. You don't know what is real anymore. This line points eloquently to this. Comes to a point where he can't distinguish the truth within him or around him. To live identified with that dream means you experience the suffering which arises within it. Excessive fear, addictions, worry, low self-esteem, compulsive thinking, etc. This is the suffering of personality. Dostoevsky also adds these characteristics: loses all respect for himself and others, and having no respect, he ceases to love. I think it's great that he adds the ceases to love bit. The way I talk about this, you can't take love out of the picture. The dream of personality takes you away from love. The question is, how do you stop lying to yourself? How do you see through the dream of personality? Well, that's what this is all about. There's another kind of awareness that doesn't arise from the personality and its blinkered motivations of survival. Choiceless awareness is so called because it doesn't choose what it falls upon. It sees life just as it is, with no motivation to edit what is seen. It is through the arising of choiceless awareness that the dream of personality is awoken from. So that is why in these meetings we keep coming back, or I keep coming back to choiceless awareness. Now, I think some people dispute the fact that such a thing even exists. So this is what we're here to discuss and for you to find out and share your experiences of it. But basically, this whole approach to life beyond personality arises because of the benefit of choiceless awareness. Because without that, you cannot see the dream of personality. You cannot see the personality. You are simply identified with it and living that dream. So it's this vital constituent. Now, why it's like this is nobody knows. We can't know. But what I'm proposing to you is that this is how one can go beyond that dream of personality, that this thing called choiceless awareness exists. Now, I chose that term. I think Krishnamurti was somebody who probably used it early on. I'm not a massive Krishnamurti guy in any way. I don't know that much about him. But that term for me best summarized what I was trying to say by pointing to what I mean by choiceless awareness. Because the choice that personality spontaneously makes, which says, I don't want to look at that, is out of the frame. It's not operating when choiceless awareness operates. And basically after the shift, choiceless awareness is what really remains. And personality awareness, I mean, maybe it doesn't go 100%, but it, you know, it's pretty drastic, the change. I think there's very little left of it. And so why is that? That's because when the identification with personality goes, that's when the personality awareness goes. Because what is governing the life is the one that wants to see. The resistance to seeing is what goes in the losing of that identification. after the breakdown I had, and I write about this in the book, I I remember very clearly sitting downstairs on the sofa down there. It was October, I think, and there was late sun. And I started writing, and I knew that what I was writing wasn't the voice of the breakdown. It didn't come from that place. Now you have to understand the breakdown had been around for quite a while, and it was informing most of my life. So I'm not kind of downplaying it in any way. But I had the very strong feeling that when I wrote that afternoon, that I wasn't coming, it wasn't informed by that breakdown. It was informed by something else. And I would say now that what I was writing from was choiceless awareness. And it observed what was going on in my life and how the breakdown was affecting it and my feelings and everything. So all I can say is that that is how it worked for me. And I found I could distinguish the difference. And I think distinguishing that difference is very important. There will be times when you lose that sharpness, but when it's there, you will know that taste and that kind of resonance of it. So I think it's quite important to be able to develop that sense of, yeah, that's the one I trust. I mean, the thing is that obviously what I'm talking about doesn't suddenly take away all the bad stuff and the hard stuff. You've been listening to these long enough now to know that that's not how it works. But it's more like there's a quote in the book, smooth seas do not a good sailor make. Mm-hmm. And so at the times when it's hard, it's like almost life's given the opportunity to test out that one that can come in and discern the difference. That's when you learn the most. That's what I'm saying, really. This is not a, self-help would be me encouraging you and, you're going to do this. And if I say this and you take on that belief, you'll feel better. So it's a tricky one because it's like, I can't do that. And there isn't a magic pill for that. The best that can happen is that something of what I'm describing happens in your life for real. And that you can actually say, well, yeah, I know what he means when he said that felt real. And I did trust that. As far as I'm concerned, that's the kind of guiding light that guides you through that dark stuff. I'm very aware of not trying to trivialize this because I know it's difficult, right? But all I can say is that's how it seems to work. That's how it worked for me. I wrote the song You Can Find a Way Back Home, and it's basically about this, that I think if that willingness is there, that light of choiceless awareness is like a rudder that can guide you back home. And back home meaning who you are before those repetitive thoughts or those difficult emotions. All of that, and the way I lay it out in the book, is what I would call an understanding with a capital U. It's kind of like an understanding of how things work. So, like I say in the book, there's things that you can't understand. Ultimately, we can't understand the big questions of why we're here and all that. And for me, that's like a given. Those are absolute questions that are beyond us. And in the shift anyway, that's absolutely fine. I don't care. I really don't care. The only religion, it's not really a religion, but approach that I feel I resonate mostly with is the Taoist, which is like, I'm holding this cup of tea now and I can feel the warmth of it and I can taste it. And I'm tasting the taste, that noise and the taste of our connection right now. So there's some things you can't know and there's some things that you can. And there are kind of certain revelations that seem to be a part of this, which relate to how things work in this business of like, who am I? And so this to me was a kind of understanding that came. There were a lot of things joined together that I laid out, and that became the story of you. You have to remember that the personality has a vested interest in proving it's the choiceless awareness not true, because it undermines choiceless awareness, undermines the personality and its dream and its beliefs. So that doesn't mean it's not going to come up that it's, but it might help you to understand as it's happening that why you're having doubts. Or I mean, the thing is, like I say, this isn't about belief. So it's not really about you believing what I'm saying. Well, it's definitely not about that, because that would be just another belief that you will one day lose or disprove or whatever. So that's why it's very different talking about this, because it's not like a spiritual or a religious campaign where if you just believe this, you'll be saved. Because I'm asking you not to believe this, but all I'm advising is like find out. And I guess these interactions are hopefully in some way helping you find out for yourself if it's true or not. Because the ultimate that can happen, I guess, is that this happens for you, and I'm sure you do have experiences of it, but that it becomes the kind of background. So it's sort of reversed. Instead of personality with a little flash of light of choiceless awareness every now and again, that it almost becomes reverse, where the personality might kick up every now and again. But I guess that's how I describe the shift. The personality in me may kick up every now and again, but when it does, because it's not the background, it's not the ground, that it gets shown up even more. It's like you can spot it a mile off. Also, you don't have any judgments on it either. That's the other thing.